Hey, thanks for tuning in once again to your favorite movie podcast, What's Your Favorite Movie? It's your old movie buddy, Ed South. You can find me on Twitter, @EdSouth, and more importantly, follow the show on Twitter, @WYF Movie Podcast. I'm very excited today to have with me a very special guest. Folks, say hello to David Heiliger.
Hello, everybody.
It's David, and he is joining us here today on What's Your Favorite Movie to talk about movies. And David has a very fancy-sounding, important job. Minister at the Bridgeway Community Church in Columbia, Maryland. And we're actually on the road again recording down in Columbia, where I grew up. You didn't grow up in Columbia,
no,
though, did you?
I grew up in Baltimore, right down, not too far away, 15 miles away.
You're not as far away as I am now, but that's all good. It's always fun to drive down here. Yeah. Did you know the liquor store across the street used to be an Arthur Treacher's restaurant?
I did not know that.
Do you know what Arthur Treacher's restaurant is?
Never heard of Arthur. I can't even say it.
Does the liquor store still have a drive-through? It used to have a drive-through.
Oh my goodness. No, but I did. My bike got stolen a couple years ago,
right? And
I chased down the kid right in front of that liquor store.
There you go.
And so that liquor store holds a special place in my heart.
Meaning, yes,
because I conquered life that day and stole my bike back from an 8-year-old kid.
I believe when I was little, we rode over to that shopping center and then called my parents to come pick us up because we were way far. It's way far in a biking world, but
right.
And tell us about this organization you have, Collision Music.
Yeah, so I get to run a organization that works with high schoolers here in the area. I grew up playing music, so teenage musician, that's a world that a lot of good memories for me. But I also do a lot of mentoring of high school and middle school kids. So I thought, what if we combine music and a way to mentor those kids that kind of slip through the cracks? So we thought of an idea to give away free recording studio time to teen musicians and their bands, and the way they earn it is by doing community service projects.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we try to think of different ways to serve teen musicians here in the area.
That's cool. And you guys just had an open mic night down at the lakefront in Columbia, which, for those of you that aren't familiar with Columbia, is a gorgeous area because what?
Awesome setting.
It's an awesome setting. Columbia was built as a quote-unquote planned community, and the lakefront was the showpiece, and the building that's there was the Rouse Company, which was the head who built Columbia. Now it's a grocery store.
Now it's a Whole Foods.
The Whole Foods, designed by Frank Lloyd Wright or something.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it's only, I think it's Frank Lloyd Wright or Frank Gehry. I should have looked into that before.
One of the two.
One of the two big architects. It's the only grocery store in the country designed by one of these guys. But yeah, beautiful setting down there, lakefront, and they do music.
Yeah.
They also do movies there.
Yeah.
I've seen
Monday night and Friday night, free movies.
Yeah.
And whole families come out for that. It's awesome.
Yeah. When I was younger, we would go down there all the time, and that was just as cool as going, quote unquote, to the movies. Going to the theater, which never happened. And
they pick year-old movies,
yeah.
So they show last year's movies, and it's awesome. It's like a drive-in, but you're sitting in the amphitheater, outdoor amphitheater,
right? And you can bring your own snacks. And the last time I was there, which wasn't terribly long ago, not when I was a kid, but the same guy was still doing it that did it when I was a kid.
Yeah, that made us old.
B or something his name was, and he's a teacher at one of the schools, and I remember going to see the Bugs Bunny movie and Black Stallion and Yellow Submarine and all these movies. Yeah, that's crazy. So just a couple of things at the top of the show. Every episode I plug the email address for the show, Fave Movie Podcast, which we're in episode 9 now, and no one has yet to utilize this email. Even the business
people using email anymore.
I maybe not. They are actually, because when I've been emailing with the sponsor for the show, I started the conversation with my regular email address, so even the sponsor is not using the email address. But my buddy Chris in Florida, who I haven't seen in many years, but he was nice enough to finally drop an email into the mailbox there at favemoviepodcast.com, or favemoviepodcast at Yahoo. So I just have to give a shout out to Chris, and he asked if I'd ever seen the movie Six Pack from 1982 with Kenny Rogers.
Ooh.
You familiar with that film?
Not familiar with that film.
And the girl from Silver Spoons and Buck Rogers is in it. But I have been a long time since I've seen it, but I need to rewatch that, Chris, so I will, and report to you immediately about that. And speaking of our sponsor, folks, DexShirts.com is where you can get iconic cult and pop culture t-shirts based on all your favorite movies like Fight Club, Aliens, Jurassic Park, Ghostbusters. Everyone's going to be having the Ghostbuster shirt this summer with the Ghostbuster logo, but you can get some advanced Ghostbuster shirts from DexShirts.com. And I was looking at one of their newest shirts, which I happen to print out so you can see, Dave, of a Stormtrooper, and it says Traitor. Oh, nice. And I was like, I don't get it because my Star Wars knowledge is not as up to date. This is from the new movie.
Okay.
And it's got the Stormtrooper and it says Traitor, and I'm like, what? And this is actually the Stormtrooper who attacked. Did you see the new movie? Yeah. This is the Stormtrooper who attacks Finn with the big electric Z6 baton and yells traitor when he sees Finn. He was quickly nicknamed TR-8R by fans, which spells traitor, but StarWars.com reveals his actual name to be FN2199, nicknamed Nins.
Oh, my goodness.
He's even got a background story in a book called Before the Awakening. So you're not going to go into Walmart or Target and buy a shirt with FN2199 on it. But DexShirts.com has got you covered, and they got this shirt, the Star Wars Traitor shirts, available in male or female sizes from small to double XL. They're hand-drawn by incredibly talented artists, then digitally rendered and professionally printed. So that's DexShirts.com, folks, if you want to pick up a delightful, pre-shunk, high-quality t-shirt, snug and comfortable fit. When you go and pick up your shirts, use promo code WYFMovie, and you'll get 20% off your order. Doesn't that sound exciting?
That's a good deal.
That is a good deal. So, let's get back to movies. David, did you see any big summer blockbusters?
I haven't yet, but I'm seeing Ghostbusters this Sunday.
Next, and you're going to put on your proton pack and your suit?
Well, I brought all my gear and got it out of the closet.
Where do you stand on the big Ghostbusters controversy?
So, I loved Ghostbusters growing up as a kid. I mean, I must have watched the movies, 10 times. The first one and the second one. And so, excited about a reboot.
And let's just say 10 times for you is a lot, because people
that is
are going,
I
watched it 100, but you were outside playing and living a life. You weren't watching movies exclusively like a lot of listeners.
So, the reboot, I got excited about it. I thought all-female cast, neat idea.
Yeah, me too.
But it's gotten a lot of bad press.
Right. Well, bad nerd press.
Yeah. So,
have you read a review of it yet? I know they screened it last week.
Yeah, I saw a video of a guy who posted something up on Facebook that got passed around, and he said, I just got out of the movie, and I had to record this right when I got in my car. That movie was terrible. So, I'm choosing not to believe him, and I'm ready for some Slimer action.
The good news is, it doesn't even matter if it's good or bad. It's going to easily make $100 million. It'll make its money back before anybody can really sink in if it's good or bad. I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, they're getting my $15.
There you go. Your 15. That's one ticket, or
one? I'm really glad about Ecto Cooler coming back.
Yes. Have you had it?
Not yet. I got to track it down.
I don't know if we've talked about Ecto Cooler on this show before, people, but it is a high C flavor that was out when we were kids, and it was delightful.
Did it come exclusively in juice box form?
No, I've seen a big big motor oil can size of it, where you have to use the big cranker thing to open it. And when they said the Ghostbusters was coming back, the first thing in my head was Ecto Cooler. Let's do it, and let's do it now. And then they were like, "Yeah, we're doing it." So I've been so excited. I had it in my phone the day it was coming out. And I dragged my kids to 8 different stores, and I still have not found it yet.
Oh, my goodness.
So sad. It's sold out online. Amazon's supposed to be getting it in soon, so you can buy a case of it. It's slightly overpriced at maybe $8 for a case. But
worth it.
Yes, to get that sweet.
If anybody spots where it is in any grocery store in the Mid-Atlantic, shoot us an email.
Please, shoot us an email at Fave Movie Podcast. Or just let us know on Twitter. Yes, we will be there scooping it up. And I've seen people online making margaritas with it, or daiquiris.
Of course they are.
It's like a orangey. You can't describe how good it is. And it was around way longer after Ghostbusters was. Yeah. It was just there, and it was
longer
just
shelf life.
It was comforting to have it, and then it was gone.
Yep.
And now it's back, and I can't find it. One last thing. I finally saw the movie Flipper. If you've been following along with the podcast, I've been mentioned Flipper way too many times, and I finally rewatched it, and it was great, and I will stop talking about it now officially. So just thought I'd throw that in there.
It was everything you hoped it would be.
Well, I've seen it before,
Okay.
and I revisited it because somebody mentioned it on the show, and it was a delightful film-going experience.
Wonderful.
One of the best dolphin films out there.
It's better than A Dolphin's Tale?
It is better than A Dolphin's Tale, yes. Have you
Okay.
seen A Dolphin's Tale?
No. But I watched the previews.
I saw it. Didn't watch the sequel. This show also is going to begin a personal quest of the shows. David is one of 5 brothers and sisters. You
Yes.
have 4 siblings, 2 brothers, 2 sisters. I'm going to get all 5 of you guys on the show before.
Awesome. It's a great quest.
It's a great quest. Your one sister lives in
Wyoming.
so that'll be a bit of a challenge, but
Worth the trip.
she comes out here, so hopefully we will do that. So we were talking about your job with the kids and at the church and at Bridgeway Community Church, and you are a minister.
Yeah.
So you don't do you do the service as a whole, or you?
No, I stick mostly with the students and try to figure out ways to mentor them and try to help them work through normal teenage issues in life. You know, not necessarily focused on the high risk students,
Right.
Just the normal everyday teenagers that are trying to figure this thing out.
This thing called life.
Yep.
And I said I wanted to ask you about how film had come into play. If film had helped you out in your job, or how you've seen film do stuff, or
So much of my job is trying to communicate.
Right.
Like, how do you communicate life issues? How do you kind of peel back the layers to be able to really connect with the heart of students? And video does that so well.
right. I mean, that's kind of the purpose of a good film, is to do that.
Yeah. I could try to say something very directly, and people put up their defenses. But video or film, or really a lot of different types of art, they can come at it a little bit softer from the side, and people are much more receptive to talking about issues when they feel like they don't have to put their defenses up.
Right.
So film does that, without a
Right.
doubt.
And you can show a film to a group and kind of get everybody on the same page or close to the same page. 2 people can watch the same movie and have a completely different reaction to it, but it can be the basis of a conversation, of a great conversation, whether it be a deep conversation if you're watching something heavy duty, or if you're just talking about Ghostbusters.
Yeah, right.
It's live.
And so I feel like in communicating, there's this. I'm looking for common ground.
Right.
Right. In anything that I'm trying to relate with a teenager about, there's not a lot that a 35-year-old person and a teenager would naturally have in common.
Sure.
But video and film, they do that.
Right.
So take video clips from a latest movie that's out there and show it, and now we have something in common. Now we have a starting point that we can, talk about.
That's cool. Do you show a lot of movies to your gang, or you guys get together to watch movies?
Last summer we did a favorite movies. So a small group of students, we kind of got a couple of them together and showed some favorite movies. So Edward Scissorhands.
So everybody brought like a favorite movie to the table?
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So Edward Scissorhands was the most memorable on that list. And
was that yours, or
no? That was my buddy Dante.
Okay.
Yeah.
And had you seen it before? It's been a while since I've seen it.
While,
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Really good movie.
Yeah.
And what else did the kids bring to the table? Do you remember?
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah.
And yours?
I didn't get a chance to do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've always wanted to do that. Like, just get a bunch of people together and like everybody bring your favorite movie, and we're going to watch them. So somebody might bring something that's way out of my wheelhouse that I wouldn't want to watch, but okay, I'm going to watch it. But in turn, you're going to watch Flipper or whatever, because I like silly movies, and my buddy Kevin likes heavier duty films, and I never go and watch his movies, but I always drag him to my silly nonsense.
That's perfect.
So as always, I asked Dave to come up with a list of 5 of his favorite movies to maybe talk about and chit chat about. And I started to maybe pull it back to telling people 3 to 5 movies. So Dave gives me 6. But it's all good.
You're welcome.
And I don't know if you gave me the list in any order or not.
I think I did. I think I tried to put it in the order.
And I'm just going to skip around a little bit on your list, because Two of the movies I had seen before, and then two of them were like titles where it's like, okay, I've heard the title, but I have no idea what that is.
Okay, nice.
So I looked up the one, and I saw the trailer, and I was like, wow, that looks really cool. I want to watch that like immediately, and that was my goal, was to get to watch this movie some point between sealing the deal that you're going to come on the show and actually recording it this morning.
Yeah.
Revolutionary Road,
Ooh.
2009.
Sorry about that.
No, it was great.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Why?
Honestly,
it's heavy.
Yeah, it was incredibly heavy, and I had no clue what I was getting into when I put it on.
And I would imagine a lot of people have this. Stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, which seems like a Hollywood thing, like, oh, they were in the most popular movie ever, let's throw them in another movie. But this is not a popcorn movie.
It wrecked me.
Why did it wreck you?
Okay, so it was like one of those times where it was late at night and I was like, what do I want to watch? And I saw, it's on Netflix or something, so I put it on. Julie's already in bed and it's already late, and so I get into this movie, and it's about the life in, I think, the 50s, and a couple that their love story, but it's almost like their life failure story.
Right. And it's told a little bit out of sequence at first. It jumps around. Mm-hmm. And then
it's like they make constant bad decision after constant bad decision.
Right.
At every crossroads that they as a couple get to, they choose the path of least resistance, or they choose something that just feeds their immediate need or pleasure, or the thing that they should do, that they feel they should do. Yeah.
Like buy the house.
Rather
have
than
the 2.1 kids.
Yeah, rather than kind of pursue their dreams and everything that in the beginning of their relationship they wanted.
Right.
They give all of that up because they're just fitting into the standard norm.
There's a lot of themes of unfulfillment and responsibility versus duty, like what you want to do versus what you have to do, or what you even feel like you have to do.
Right, and what's expected, and the just blending in.
Yeah,
honestly, and not taking risks. I felt like that was a big one for me.
In the film, Kate Winslet's character wants to be an actress, and she gets married. And I guess they never really go into. Leo doesn't really have any.
He's a standard businessman,
right?
Kinda.
And she wants to be an actress, but she ends up married with kids and living at home and doing all that stuff. But it's just eating at her that she wants to break away, and he's all for it. But at the same time, he's like, hey, I got this great job. I'm moving up with the company. Why rock the boat? Yeah. And she's like, let's rock the boat. And it's probably a very real problem that couples have, maybe not so verbally, because a lot of people are just like, I wanted to be an actress, and just kind of leave it at that because it seems so.
But for her, it was this life dream. Right, and also moving to Paris. That was another.
That was the whole.
What if we moved to Paris?
Well, as you may know, I've been trying to get to Florida for the last 20 years, and we've had our house on the market several times. So the whole time I'm kind of like, Florida is my Paris in this movie.
Well, and I have that too when I watched it, and I think what wrecked me in the movie was it touched on every like insecurity or like second guessing of what decisions I've made in life.
Right.
And I was like, I think I just need to move like away to Paris, right? I never even wanted to move to Paris, but this movie makes me, I just have to pull the trigger and say, I'm going to do the hard thing that I've always been putting off.
Right. And it's a little extreme in this movie. I mean, you don't have to move to Paris to follow your dreams necessarily. Although that was her dream, and but yeah, I just really liked how it was, touching on, like you said, like did I make the right decisions? It's one of these movies that makes you, even if you're not watching with a group of people and having a conversation afterwards, it certainly opens an inner monologue with yourself.
Yeah, I couldn't get to sleep. Like, I watched the movie and then I stayed up for the next 6 hours,
crying,
clutching, laying on my floor, right? I really think that everybody in that movie made horrible decisions.
Right. Even the neighbors,
it wasn't like they were destined to have their life kind of unravel and fall apart. They to their own discredit, they made really bad decisions that brought that into being.
Right.
They could have made the good decision. They could have taken the risk. They could have gone away from what everybody else expected, but they didn't.
Right.
And so then the question is like, am I going to make good decisions? Like, am I going to choose the path of least resistance?
Right.
Or am I going to take the risk and
grab the bull by the horns?
Yeah.
And the thing, like, I mean, when I was little, I thought I was going to be in show business and be an actor or whatever, and the actor thing, whatever. But, you know, when I was watching this, it just gets you thinking. It's like, yeah, I thought I was going to be in show business and be this big movie star or TV star or whatever. And it's like, didn't think at like 42 I'd be sitting in my friend's basement recording a podcast. It was my creative outlet. But I'm fine with that because that's the choice, you know, the choice that I made. And I got a great family and all this other stuff, but it messes with your head. It's like, should I leave my wife and go be an actor? No, that's not a good idea. And that's what Leo's saying in this.
Well, and I think one thing that I came away with from this movie with is, even if they would have moved to Paris, they would have moved to Paris.
Right.
The same couple with the same issues, with the same, like, they would have gotten to Paris and had a good year, maybe.
Right.
But the same weaknesses and toxicity in their relationship would have come out there, too.
Right.
So it's more about being healthy where you are, because moving won't solve it.
Right.
Saying, I'm going to pursue my dream won't solve it. It's that healthy day-to-day decisions.
Yeah.
Right?
When my wife and I would talk about moving to Florida and be like, oh, like, you know, if we're like complaining about the neighbors or something, like, oh, we can't wait to move to Florida when we had our house on the market. And then people would be like, moving to Florida is not going to solve all your problems. It's like, yeah, I get it, but it's part of the problem.
Yeah.
So it's just it just opens up, this movie, Revolutionary Road, just opens up so many questions, and a really good, deep movie. And a lot more than just Leo and Kate Winslet reunited for the big screen.
Right. They said they avoided a lot of movie offers because they didn't want that would sell no matter what
Titanic
movie they were in.
too.
Right. So they avoided especially love stories.
Yeah.
And
it's
this
a very
is like the
uncommercial.
The anti-love story.
Have you, are you familiar with any Woody Allen films? Have you ever watched Woody Allen?
No.
Because as soon as this movie starts, I was like, oh, this is a Woody Allen movie. Pretty much, like the whole tone and theme, and they use like the old music to score some of the film, which is what Woody Allen does. But I was looking back over Woody Allen's filmography, and some of his more recent films, like Blue Jasmine and To Rome with Love, You Will Meet a Tall Dark Stranger, you would probably like. Very similar in vein, and you know, asks a lot of questions, and the kind of dynamics of examining. I wrote all this down. Similar movies in style, but also explores relationships and standards. Films that pose questions about how society expects relationships to behave.
And I love, like, when I read books, it's like pop sociology books, you know, just trying to figure out what makes us tick.
Right, exactly.
And this movie definitely
does. It's really cool.
Sorts of things.
And then just a couple notes on the film. It was directed by a guy named Sam Mendes, who did American Beauty.
Mm-hmm. Great film.
Yeah, great film. And then a couple of other very small films like this one with, just interpersonal relationships and quiet. And then he ends up taking over the 007 franchise.
Huge blockbusters.
Right, does Skyfall and Spectre, which is kind of funny. And did you know Sam Mendes was married to Kate Winslet?
I did.
Okay, yeah. Not anymore, but 2003 to 2010. So it was when this movie was made. Mm-hmm. And then Kate Winslet, she kind of looked a lot like Scarlett Johansson in this a little bit. And I wasn't familiar with Kate Winslet all that much. And I went back to see, like, where do I know her from? And I really had never seen any of her movies, including Titanic, which I never saw.
You've never seen Titanic?
Seen Titanic. Do you know why?
One, no.
Because Titanic came out a few weeks before the Spice Girls movie, and I was so excited about the Spice Girls movie, nothing else mattered.
Oh my
I just
goodness.
had to, yeah, I've never, and I know how Titanic ends, so I don't. Do I need to say it?
Right. But we didn't know how Spice
No,
World would end.
right, no. And
So I'm so glad that came up because that should have made my list of top.
Spice World.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
I saw it in the movie theater.
Oh, excellent!
Opening weekend. Me
Yes.
and my buddy Ben and my friend, I think Childs was in it, and we went to the theater
Nice.
filled with like 12-year-old girls
and me, I was probably down the front.
right, yeah, and us 18-year-old guys.
Yeah,
Loving
great. I saw it
the
like
Spice
opening
Girls.
day, opening screening.
Yeah,
But I went,
have it on VHS somewhere around
nice. I upgraded to DVD.
here. Okay, well,
One time I walked it when that movie came, when Spice World came out, I was doing my public access TV show in Howard County here where we are. And the one time we walked into Spice World, like the second or third time I'd seen it, 3 guys like up somewhere in the theater, like, "Hey, it's Ed South!" I was like, "How wonderful and perfect
Right.
to be recognized in this theater for that movie." And my last note on this film, as I always like to do, connect actors and actresses with some of the garbage that they've done in their past. Kate Winslet was in A Kid in King Arthur's Court, 1995.
how about that?
Did you ever see that?
No, well, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I saw it in the theater. Thank you very much. Just to let you know how that movie goes, at one point the main character takes his Walkman CD player, breaks the lid off, and uses the laser to fight somebody. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
He goes back in time.
He goes back in time, yes.
I think I saw that one. Yeah.
It's all coming back to you now.
Oh, yeah.
So that's Revolutionary Road 2009. Leo
Yeah.
and Kate, go watch it. It's really good. Just, you got to be in the right frame of
Yeah.
mind.
I saw it once. I haven't been able to see
Oh,
it again.
okay. Yeah, but it made that much of an impression
Yep.
on you.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. So, also on your list, at the top of your list,
Yes.
the Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank Redemption.
1994. And I have seen this, but it's been a while.
Oh,
and
wow.
there wasn't a whole lot of time between getting you to say yes and getting us here, so I didn't have time to watch all these with summer going on. But
Yeah, so Shawshank Redemption, that's the kind of movie for me where if I see it's on TV,
right.
I watch it from
Right.
whatever point it's on.
Yeah,
And
I have a hang up with that. I have to see it from beginning to end.
Oh, man.
But I do,
Yeah.
when I saw Shawshank Redemption the first time, and like I always say, Spice World, Flipper, whatever, but I saw that and I was like, whoa, that's like what I call a steak and potatoes movie. Like you're getting the full course dinner,
Yep.
sitting down.
The characters are so, like, I love good characters in movies, and they tell good stories about these characters, and your unexpected friendship coming in at this prison, and you don't. There's even like a little bit of there's mystery in like who are these guys?
Right.
Because you don't expect the people in prison to be so lovable. Like you
Right.
just fall in love with these characters.
Right. What are they in there for? Do you remember?
So, Morgan Freeman's character, he was in an armed robbery, and I think he killed somebody in the armed robbery. He was a kid,
Right.
18 when he did it, and got locked up for his whole life. And Tim Robbins' character, he was convicted for killing his wife,
Okay.
and her lover, the guy she was sleeping with.
Right.
So, and then the movie is him saying he didn't do it, but having to live life in the prison no matter what.
Yeah.
So he's not quite your normal prison character.
I've been meaning to rewatch this since I saw it, but especially recently. Somebody else had it on their list, and we never got to recording their show, but I had a copy of it in my hands, and I slipped through. But
It's worth the watch.
and it's on TV a lot, because I think that's a lot of people's that's on a lot of people's list of, it's on, clear the schedule, I'm watching the rest of it, whether it be 2 hours, 3 hours. And of course it was based on a Stephen King story.
Novella.
Yeah,
one of his little tiny books.
Did you ever read it?
No.
Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption.
There you go.
Does the Rita Hayworth play into the movie? Is that in there?
Yeah.
Because that's just a book title, not a movie title. So
Yeah.
Clean it up. Nominated for 7 Oscars, including Best Picture, but it lost to Forrest Gump. Others that year were Pulp Fiction and 4 Weddings and a Funeral. So
It's a good year.
Good year for movies, 1994, yeah. Also The Lion King. For some reason, I can tell you the top 5 movies of '94 because it was Forrest Gump, The Lion King, The Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Perfect.
True Lies, and I feel like a savant here with this, but it's a reason why. Because number 5 was The Flintstones, which is one of my faves. So, is there much more to say about Shawshank?
Well, I love that it's not a love story.
Yeah, true.
Like,
Very few movies
like,
don't have a romantic thread.
It's like the original bromance with these two guys, and just the friendship is fun to watch,
Right?
And again, just thinking about what makes people tick. I
do remember like loving these guys and just like I want to hang out with them even though they're in jail.
I want to be with them. Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you saw this?
No.
It's just one of those movies that's always been floating
always
around.
been there. Yeah.
Always been floating around. So that's the Shawshank. You've probably seen it, but if you haven't in a while, you should.
Yeah.
Groundhog Day from 1993 with Bill Murray and Andie MacDowell, another one of your favorites.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of people's list too.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good segue. I'll jump right into this. Your list has, of the 6 movies you gave me, where is it? Of the 6 movies you gave me, 5 of them are on the IMDb top 250 rated movies by users.
Does that mean I'm not original, or does that mean I have good taste?
It means you fit in well with... It means you don't like Flipper and Spice World. Because, on IMDb, anybody can go in and rate the movie.
Yeah.
I've never done that. But you could put your 1 to 10 stars. So there's like the top 250 ranked movies by users. And there's no... When I was scrolling through it, there's not like, out of the blue, like, why is... I don't want to keep saying Flipper, but whatever. Like, why is Commando in there or something like that? There are all these big movies. Groundhog Day is number 221 on the list. Braveheart is number 76.
Okay.
The Prestige is 49.
Oh, wow.
Gladiator is 48. And Shawshank is number 1.
Number 1.
Number 1 with a bullet.
We love it.
Did you see Groundhog Day in the theater?
No.
Caught it on. This has got to be another TV it's on. I'm going to watch it all day.
Yeah. Well, that's
which
the kind
is,
of...
again, why it's on all the time.
Right. And with Groundhog Day, it's like you are watching the same movie over and over and over again, so it doesn't matter where you pick it up.
I think it's really interesting how the phrase Groundhog Day has entered our vernacular as just meaning repetitious.
Yeah.
Like, no matter... I mean, Groundhog Day itself has absolutely nothing to do with repetition. It's about predicting the weather.
Yeah.
But, if something happens, it's like, oh, I ran into so-and-so like 5 times today. It's like, what is this, Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
And I wonder what... Yeah, I think the popularity of that movie had to do something to that celebration in Punxsutawney.
Right.
Like, I bet tons of people flock to it.
Yeah.
Even now, because of the movie.
I'm sure there's people cashing in on the movie.
Right.
Have you never gone up there?
No.
I wanted to, like when I was younger, and then now that I'm older and I see that crowd, I'm like, no, thank you.
Right.
I don't need.
It's not like I'm going to run into Bill Murray,
right?
Or Ned Ryerson. So one thing I love about Groundhog Day is that is so quotable. I feel like every February 2nd, like. All I'm doing all day long is sending texts to people quoting the movie. Rise and shine.
And this one was directed by Harold Ramis, who recently left us, but he did Caddyshack, which is another great quotable film, and the original Vacation. And of course, he didn't direct Ghostbusters, but he was one of the Ghostbusters. I've only seen it once. Is that bad?
Did you see it once because it wasn't worth seeing again?
No, because I just saw it recently, like within the last probably 2 Groundhog Days ago. I watched it for the first time. I was like, you know what? I need to take this off of TV and watch it because it's on all day, every day on every channel.
Yeah,
but
it's awesome. I feel like it's one that for me, I can watch it no matter what and enjoy it like it's the first time.
Definitely,
every time.
I definitely have movies like that. But yeah, good stuff. Other favorite Bill Murray movies of yours? Do you have other favorites? Are you a big Bill Murray fan?
I liked him in Zombieland.
Zombieland, okay.
That was just such a funny cameo.
Right.
That it sticks out big time.
He plays himself in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And I'm trying to think of other Bill... What are some of your Bill Murray movies?
Going off of that, the cameo in Zombieland, he also has a cameo in Space Jam. Did you ever see that?
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
definitely.
He just shows up for no reason, and he's just Bill Murray, and he just pops up playing golf with Bugs Bunny and Michael
goodness.
Jordan, and then he pops up again at the end of the movie. It's so great the way he just literally walks into the movie for no reason. It's like, oh, we got Bill Murray?
Send him in. Like
I'm
he
sure-
was shooting in the studio next door.
right.
And he was like, sure, I'll
You want to be in a
swing by.
movie with Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny? Yeah.
Yes.
I haven't seen. I used to love Stripes when I was younger. I haven't seen that in a while.
I loved The Spy,
The
Man Who Knew Too Little.
Right. I've never seen that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was another one where it's like the whole time you're just laughing at him like he's this nutcase the whole time.
And you know what? I think you and I saw a Bill Murray movie in the theater together.
Which one?
I think we went and saw Osmosis Jones after your brother's bachelor party, I think.
Awesome.
Were you there?
Yes.
Am I right? Is that ringing a bell?
Yes.
I just remembered that, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
At Dave and Buster's. And
Yeah.
then we went over
Then
and
we went,
saw, what was that, like Bill Murray was like sick, and then they would go inside his body, and it
Yep.
was a cartoon, and
Whoa.
William Shatner and I think Chris Rock were like the voices of the cells or whatever.
The original Inside Out, right?
Good times. I
So cool.
totally forgot we had a film history together, Dave.
There it is. I feel like you had a friend that worked at a movie theater and we snuck in to see the movie Election together.
No.
Does that
No, because I can tell you where I saw Election with your brother-in-law, with Matt, at the theater right over here at Snowden Square. I don't think so, yeah.
we didn't sneak into Hoyt's
No, but
to
no.
watch that? Because
Here's-
Matt was there too.
Well, Matt, maybe we did. Matt knew a guy that ran the theater, that ran the Hoyts,
Yeah.
and he would let us in at night to see. Like they would do, like if on a Thursday night they would watch whatever was coming out Friday for all the people that worked there. So
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Maybe
quite
it
the-
wasn't Election. Maybe it was a different movie, but I feel
But
like
then
we
that
snuck into
definitely
that
happened,
movie.
yeah. Because sometimes it would be like 3 a.m. would be the movie screening.
Yeah.
And Matt would come over and knock on my bedroom window to wake me up. This was before cell phones, and I lived at home. I was like, you can't call my house and wake my parents up.
Right.
So he would knock on my bedroom window, and we'd hop in the car and drive out to like Laurel, like an hour or like half hour away, and go see a movie at like 3:30 in the morning. Free popcorn.
Yeah.
Those were the days. Yeah.
Loved it.
And my greatest memory of that experience was I got to see The Phantom Menace early.
Ooh.
And my buddy Brian, producer Brian on the show here, Brian like camped out for like 24 hours, and I got in like 7 minutes before him. It was so great. But yeah, that's awesome. I wish miss going to see movies at 3 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes. What else on your list? The Prestige, 2006. Now, this is another one that I was not familiar with at all. But
not at all.
Not at all. I mean,
Man.
it's like I heard the name,
Yep.
and then I looked it up and was like, nope, never heard of that.
Yeah.
And this is about magicians to see who can pull the biggest rabbit out of their hat. Is that what that's
It's
about?
kind of, yeah. You know, so Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman, they're these two guys that started doing magic together and then end up being rivals.
Right.
And so it's Magician Wars.
Not
Not like Harry Potter Magician Wars.
Right.
But it's set in, I would imagine, like 1920s era type style. And they're just trying, their identity is all wrapped up in the show.
Okay.
And what they want to do is be the best of the best. And so every time one of them comes out with a new illusion, new trick, the other one-ups them.
Okay.
So then it's this pursuit for the ultimate prestige, the ultimate like final turn where you wow the crowd.
Right.
And so one of the characters ends up trying to pursue like the other supernatural to be able to help him. So he meets Tesla, like the real life, person who was involved in like electricity and
I got you.
So he goes out and meets this guy because he thinks he can give him like this way to do a illusion,
Next level magic.
Yeah,
Right.
But it's all about what are you willing to sacrifice for the prestige, for the turn, for the best, to be the best of the best.
Which kind of ties in with Revolutionary Road. Like, did you make the right decision? Are you making the
Yeah.
right decision? How far are you willing to go for complete happiness or fulfillment. This was directed by Christopher Nolan, who did the Batman movies and what's the other? Inception. Inception.
Yep.
Insurrection's a Star Trek movie. So does this have some of that same kind of trippiness to it? The like Inception has the crazy.
Yeah,
visuals?
I think it where it takes the turn is when he starts interacting with Tesla, and you're like, oh, this isn't just two magicians. This is going to get there's an element where I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
I don't know what to believe anymore. Is this really just tricks?
Right.
Or are they illusions, Michael? You know, like, is it, you know, are they doing real, like, are they, is something supernatural happening?
Right.
So, you know, I grew up, I was like a juggler.
Right,
I was
yeah.
like, me and my dad used to go to all these International Jugglers Association meetings where all the street performers and clowns and all these magicians would get together and share tricks with each other.
Right.
So that world of street performance is something that it has a lot of memories of me
it's like
growing up.
in you,
Because knowing some of the guys who are these bigger performers in the area, they work hard on their craft,
right.
and they are a little guarded about some of their stuff, but kind of be welcomed into that group when I was pretty young, and them kind of like teaching me new tricks and looking at, you know, me as I was growing as like a performer. That was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
So I think that taps into a little bit of my story, which is really appreciating the magic world and the people behind the show.
That's really cool. Yeah. Do you still do juggling or magic? Or?
No.
You know what other thing you used to do? I love that is whirly stick, or what's that thing
Diablo.
called? The
The Diablo.
That thing's awesome.
Yeah.
I can't do it, but
when we used to work at Port Discovery together, my first street performance was out in front of Port Discovery.
Oh, nice.
After one of our late night events or something.
Yeah.
Me and a buddy, we set up out there in front of the power plant live area.
Yeah.
And we were going to do this performance. So we had the torches out, and we were like doing all of our like fire performance stuff. And we
did you have a permit for?
No. But we had.
Back in the good old days, you could walk around with a stick of fire, and everyone didn't assume Frankenstein was around the corner.
We made $2 that night.
Nice.
$1 from my mom. Thanks, Nancy. And $1 from a drunk lady that went past. Yeah, she was nice.
Memories.
Yeah. I think she wanted a hug too.
I was going to
say, a little creepy.
Port Discovery is a children's museum in Baltimore for the one or two of you listening outside of the area. But when we would work there, and then, like, if there was a crowd of people somewhere unhappy, I'd get on the radio and be like, David, we had that fruit stand set up at that Sesame Street exhibit, but grab a couple of plastic apples and go down here and juggle. Right. Sure, Ed.
Entertain the folks.
Yeah. Awesome.
So much fun.
That's really cool how, you know, there's certain things, like you're saying, like with magic, and obviously that's not your profession now, or even like a frontal Hollywood. It's just kind of like ingrained in you. Like mine's puppetry.
Yeah.
Like I was so into puppets when I was little, and that's why I have such a infinity for the Muppets, and I love the Muppets because that was like just the end all be all when I was little. And
because it brings back there's just something nostalgic about it that I feel again like I want to be them. I want to I want to be them. I want to be with them. I want to hang out with those guys.
Yeah. And like I love all those Disney films, like all the princess movies, but I still have like a little special connection with Pinocchio too, because that was always because he's a puppet.
Yeah.
He's a puppet. He's a real boy. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it was interesting. Christopher Nolan made The Prestige here between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, so it's kind of like his little, I'm sure he was contracted to do those 3 Batman movies, and then he was just like, "This is for me. I need to just get this out of me, and then we'll go back to Gotham." And
he was firing on all cylinders. Both of those Batman movies.
And then I think he made Inception between Batman 2 and 3. Mm-hmm. You like all those Batman movies?
The dark, the darker side of superheroes.
Right. Yeah.
It's a good shift in superhero movies.
Right. That's still with us today, yeah. I'll still stand by my favorite Batman film being Batman and Robin. I'm alone on that one. That's when I got it right. That's when they got it right. And we're coming up on just about the end here. You also had on your list Gladiator and Braveheart, which
I feel like they're kind of the same movie.
Yeah, you
put them as one,
as 1A and 1B. I've always kind of looped them together in my mind too. As just
they're made 5 years apart. When I went back and looked,
yeah,
I was like, oh, I thought they were literally like back to back.
No, yeah.
So that courageous man conquering the all odds stacked against him.
Right.
Like, those are just fun movies for me to watch.
And again, put the remote down. They're always on too.
Always on. Yep. And I'll pick them up wherever they are.
They know that you guys do that when you stop at those movies and watch them. That's why they're on all the time.
They got me.
David's List, Shawshank Redemption, which, like I said, steak and potatoes movie. If you have not seen that, go get your hands on a copy and don't watch it for the first time off of TV. Get the DVD, turn off the lights, pop some popcorn, pay attention, watch it. Good stuff. Groundhog Day, Revolutionary Road, which was incredible. That's the cool thing about doing this show is getting exposed to all these movies that otherwise I wouldn't probably have watched. Gladiator, Braveheart, and The Prestige. So check all those out. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of What's Your Favorite Movie. Dave, thanks so much for helping us out here.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out. This is awesome.
Yeah, opening up your home to us. We have a nice little basement studio here. This is perfect.
Yeah.
And you can catch David on Twitter if you want, at Heiliger David, Heiliger, right? David, on Twitter. And how many Twitter followers do you have, Dave? Do you know?
And I think I'm like around 100, 150, somewhere.
There you go.
Somewhere in that range.
Yeah, so there's that. And, of course, I'm at Ed South, and the show is at WYF Movie Podcast. Dave, I forgot to ask you. I was going to ask you right at the top of the show.
What do we got?
How many Pokemon have you caught so far?
Oh, my goodness. It's all over really, like, how many cars have hit me while I'm chasing the Pokemon.
Is your church Pokestop?
We had 2 Pokestops at the church.
Yeah. And you guys had no inkling of that beforehand?
No.
They didn't, contact you?
No.
I should have put all this at the top of the show.
Yeah, they place it. They just place them wherever.
And then all of a sudden, my son was like, where's a church down the street from us? And he was walking all over the field looking for his Pokemon. It's awesome.
Like, literally, there are articles already written about how do churches leverage them being a Pokestop for, serving their community.
Wow. Is it going to be on the... Here's another question I should have... Man, I got all the questions to the other show. The sign, the marquees, what do you guys call them? The sign, the marquee, where you put the words in. There's sources you can go to get clever things to put in there,
right.
Because they're so clever and they're all over the place.
All over the place.
All these good ones. So this weekend, somebody's going to have a Pokemon one.
I'll work on that.
If you find it, send it to me. Yeah, definitely. We'll put that up on Twitter, but some kind of Pokemon church connection. But good stuff. All right.
Great to hang out. Great to hang out.
Yeah,
thanks
definitely.
a ton for this.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Folks, if you have a minute, rate, review, and subscribe to the show. It's as simple as that. And don't forget, for unique and exclusive t-shirts inspired by nostalgia, pop culture, and iconic movie themes, it's DexShirts.com. Use our exclusive promo code WYFMovie for 20% off your order. David, have yourself a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Sal.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Until then, it's khaki wishes and cookie dreams. Bye-bye.
Adios.